Welcome to session 3 of using Office 365 groups for the CIS 3900 final project collaboration. In session 1, we introduced Office 365 groups and how they enable team collaboration for projects like CIS 3900. In session 2, we went over how to create that group. And all of the things that got created along with the group, like a shared mailbox, a shared notebook, a shared project planner, that sort of thing. And in this one, we're going to talk about how to manage group members. So that will be session 3. So by way of introduction, the collection of users in an Office 365 group are called members. The user that creates the group is automatically a member and has the member type of owner. And the group owner can, add other users to the group and take users out of the group and do sort of administrative type functions. And then other members of the group can also be promoted to co-owners if needed to help manage the group and that sort of thing. So the goal of this session is hopefully you'll learn more about the Office 365 group members and how to manage them. So the first thing we're going to do is log into the Office 365 web portal. We talked about how to do that in session 1. We also talked about in session 2 that you can use the Office applications to do some of these things as well, especially like, for example, Outlook. But as I mentioned during session 2, we'll be using the web portal as a part of this. It just makes more sense, I think, because it is browser-based and, it doesn't matter if you have the Office applications installed. Just know that you can use the Office applications to do a lot of what we're going to talk about, including managing group members. And then, as I've done in most of the other sessions, I've provided a link to Microsoft, kind of a training page or information about, managing groups with videos and all sorts of other things. I'll go through the specifics needed to get us to where we need to be to use Office 365 groups for, the CIS 3900 project collaboration, but there's lots more information and more than we could ever hope to go through in these short sessions. So that's why I provided these links. So I'm going to come in and you can see that I've logged into the Office 365 portal. Here's my student inbox here. And here's the list of groups on the left. And so here's the group that I created in session 2. And in session 3, I'm just going to use the group that we had created for our group project work in CIS 3900 because it has members in it and all that sort of thing. So when I click on the group here, it takes me to the group inbox. So here's all the emails that were sent to the group, and here's, they're threaded and that sort of thing. We'll go into the email a lot more in a future session. What I really want to cover in this one is, how to manage members. So there's a couple of ways to do that. One, you'll see up here the list of members, how many members are in the group. It shows that I am joined to the meeting and that it allows me to unsubscribe, so I'm subscribed. We'll talk about that in just a second. There's a ... here that allows me to, edit, to manage the members. I can add this to my favorites. I can edit the details of the group, so if I wanted to change its description, we talked about all of that in session 2. If I wanted to see the group details, I can click here and it gives me, all the details about the group. It's the email address and all of that. Again, we talked about some of that in session 2. Well, session 3 then is all about members. So if I click members, it's going to give me the list of all of the members in this group. So here I am, Randall Nail, Francis, Anthony, and Laura were my group were my project team for CIS 3900 for the final project. And of course, Dr. Perez Mira was the instructor, so I added her to the group so that she could sort of see what we were working on, or if I needed to send her a link to any of our documentation to ask her a question about it, she would automatically have access to it. So she's a member of our group as well. So I mentioned that there are owners of the group. So the only owner of this group is myself. And then you can also have guests, which are people that aren't members of the Office 365 tenant. So in NSU, all faculty and students and what have you are all members. But if you wanted to add an external party to a group, you could do that as a guest. And we won't go through that here because it's not really required for using this capability for the final project in CS 3900, but just know that you can do that. So the first thing I wanted to do was talk about how I can make someone else an owner, right? So here Francis is right here. If I wanted to make Francis a member, an owner of the group, then it's pretty easy. I click the drop down, I click make owner. If I want to see Francis's details, you know, there they are. And so if I click make owner, it says promoting, and then once it's done, then Francis, there we go, promoted to admin. So if I go look at all the owners now, both Francis and myself are admins. If I wanted to add a new member to the group, I just click add here, and I'll just do Mr. Penrod as an example. So if I wanted to add Mr. Penrod to our group, that would be easy enough to do. I just choose his name and I choose, you know, add. I'm not actually going to do that because Dr. Penrod probably doesn't want to be a member of this group and get a bunch of spam email, but that's how you would add members. If I wanted to remove a member, so for example, if I wanted to remove Anthony, it's as simple as clicking on the ... and clicking remove from group. So just to recap, all of these, everyone in this group has access to all of the features and capabilities of this group. They can access the files that are stored in the group OneDrive. They can see the group calendar. They can see emails sent to the group. You know, all of those things. And then owners can actually, you know, add and remove people from the group and change administrative settings of the group, like the group name or description and that sort of thing. The last part of the member management that I wanted to talk about has to do with this concept of subscribing. So I mentioned in a previous session that often group members want to get email that's sent to the group mailbox into their own personal email box as well. And if you want that to happen, then that's called subscribing to the group. And you can see that because I am subscribed, my only option is to unsubscribe. And so when I do that, what happens is now email that is sent to the group's mailbox doesn't go to my mailbox. I have to actually look inside the group's email mailbox to see the email that's sent to the group. And so that's this concept of subscribing or not to the group. Once you're joined into the group, you can any changes you make to your profile or anything like that are automatically, you know, reflected in the group. So if I were to change my profile picture or something like that, it would be automatically, you know, updated here because the members are simply that. One of the things I didn't cover before that you can do here in group management as well is sort of change the picture of the group in the group properties. So you can see that here. I just put a silly little icon for hours to kind of demonstrate that. You can also make some other changes around email to the group, but we'll go through that in a future session around specifically email and Office 365 groups. So that is member management. So hopefully as a part of this session, you learned how to you learned about Office 365 group members and then how to manage them and see who they are and all of that. So I will wrap this session with that, and the next sessions will continue. In the next session, we'll continue to go through the curriculum that was introduced in session 1.